folks, I'm Dave Isaacs, and in this Picker's Delight episode, we're going to take a look at Jerry Garcia's version of the traditional song Little Sadie. Intro goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're in the key of D minor, and this first lick is really just going through a D minor blues scale, starting off with this figure on the 3rd string, fret 2, fret 1, and then up to index finger on the 2nd string, 1st fret, back to this 3rd string note, 2nd fret, and then I'm using my pinky here just because that's what falls naturally. We could use ring, nothing wrong with it. My pinky likes to go there, so that's what I'm using. Either is okay. 1 and 2 and 3. Now from the 3rd down to the 1st on the 2nd string, and then 2, 0, 3rd string, 3 on the 4th string, open. So notice, this is straight minor pentatonic. D, C, A, G, F, D. And that's picked down, up, down, up, down, down. The first half, as I said, is really using the blues scale because of our sharp 4 right here. Hear how dissonant that note is, right? But we don't stay on that low dissonant note. We come right back. It's just a little dip, wee-da-da, and then jumping up. Notice my picking. I'm following the basic rule of down on a downbeat, up on an upbeat, and sticking with that through the syncopation, so sometimes you do end up with repeated upstrokes. For example, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, again. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down. Now, some of you may have learned that you should be alternate picking strictly through everything. I'm not going to dispute that, but I would say that I am alternate picking strictly through everything. I just never stop moving. And the real advantage to this is that you maintain a sense of accent on the downbeat. Boo, da, dee, da, da, dee, da, dee, da, da, da. There's a sense of arrival on that last one, and I think that's important. It also just keeps the picking nice and clean. You end up back on a downstroke on 1 every time. If you just keep track of this basic idea, then everything flows nicely and it keeps a nice swing. We do have a shuffle rhythm. If you find it tricky to feel a shuffle, I just want you to count out loud or speak out loud. Ronk-a-ronk-a-ronk-a-ronk. When I was a teenager, this is what I used to think this blues rhythm sounded like. Ronk-a-ronk-a-ronk-a-ronk. If I wrote those syllables down, I have a hard time imagining you would hear it any differently than what I just said. Ronk-a-ronk-a-ronk-a-ronk. Long, short, long, short, long, short, long. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Now, watch this. And 1, and 2, and 3. So what happens is the chords go to C, and so we have a setup for this on the last beat of that second bar. 2, 3, 4, C with an upstroke, and then down to the 4th string, E with a downstroke. That might feel a little funny at first, but notice how it gives us the emphasis I was talking about on a 1. So, this is straight out of a C chord. Notice I don't have to even lift my fingers. Now, I'm going to need to move in a second, so I'm not actually looking to hold the chord. But I wanted to illustrate that all of this is C major pentatonic, comes right out of that C chord, and then now dee da dee da da dum is an A A minor pentatonic. Watch, I'm starting with my middle finger on the 3rd string, 2nd fret. 2, O, 2, O, 3, O. Notice the shuffle. Ronka, ronka, ronk, but then that's a quarter note. Notice the cross picking. This is the trickiest part. Is some of the time we're going to hit an upstroke on a bass string and then have to come to a down on a string on this side. But it really does flow, and it maintains the accents, as I've been saying, like this. Down, up, down. Like this. 3, 4. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down. You could make a case for what some people might call more of an economy picking approach, where you don't move if you don't need to. But I think the rhythmic aspect of this is so important, and I really don't think it's good to separate your picking from what your rhythm feels like. It's one thing if I want to feel steady, say, repeated 8th notes. Feels very 1982, right? Repeated down, or rather, alternate down upstrokes don't work for this. It's not the right sound. But this, it's clunky. So, following the picking, watching my right hand, here are the first 2 phrases. Upstroke, down. Now, we're staying in this A minor pentatonic for a moment and just playing a simple triad. O, 3, 2, 3, A, C, E, C. And once again, I'm coming out of a C chord. The scale in this case really is A major pentatonic. Picking is down, up, down, and then down, up, down. Now, when we're talking about Jerry Garcia, obviously there are going to be significant variations from one performance to another. I'm pulling this particular line from the lead that he plays in the on the Reckoning album, the 1980 Radio City Music Hall shows, if you're looking for a reference. But the melody is basically the same, it's just that he articulates some things differently from one performance to another. And in this case, I'm putting in a muted ghost note here. O, 3, click 3. Nothing wrong with that being an open string. But that little cluck adds something nice. Which is simply releasing the left hand pressure, but not coming off the string, and I'm sticking with the appropriate upstroke because I'm on an offbeat. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. And then we have this closing lick on A. The chord has gone to A7, so it's really a dominant, a 5 chord in D minor. And we're playing a little chromatic lick. We're starting from an A, which is obviously in the chord on a strong beat, G sharp, which is not, but then it resolves right away back to A, so your ear accepts the dissonance, even though that note should clash. And then the same thing happens going to this B flat, or A sharp, also not in the A7 chord, but it resolves back. So you get this strong sense of good note, clashy note, back to the good note, clashy note, and back. So we just, we hit the tension note below and above. Now watch this. We then skip the G sharp on our way down. So 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, O, 3, 2, O, 3, 2. Watching my picking. It's really pretty straightforward once you're used to it. There is nothing wrong with resting back here. I don't like using the word anchor because that implies something that doesn't move. However, I will frequently balance on the face of the guitar. I might use a finger over here, extended middle ring or pinky. I might rest on the face of the guitar back here using the base of my thumb, and I might rest on the bridge using my palm. And in the process of playing this, I'm actually going to move around and do a bit of that, especially at some speed. So I was using a lot of this, that sort of drumstick or the base of your thumb. This can get back here and still give you enough room to move that right hand. And in fact, to me, unless you're palm muting, this feels better. And it also helps the note speak nicely. That little bit of a diagonal, I'm not trying to snap the string, but that little bit of pushing out, some people talk about pick slanting, it does make that note pop nicely. So here's the whole intro. 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2. Now watch the timing. D minor, F, F, D minor, C, 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 A minor, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, A, 7, 2, 3, a bar of 2, 3, 4, 2, 2. So, D minor, F, F, D minor, C, 2, 3, 4, 1, A minor, stay there, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, A, 7. Watch this bass line, O, 3, O. I'm not going to swear to that being there all the time, but what I find is that it really helps you hear that 2 count. And it does line up also with the way the vocal is sung. D, You're going to hit those beats every time. So, I'm going to walk through this one more time doing the strumming. I want you to watch the way that I'm playing. Basically, a shuffling boom chick in that I'm putting an accent on the backbeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Creating that accent by swinging my arm a little further. And I am also separating boom chick into focusing on the bass side and playing a little lighter to focusing on the treble side and playing a little harder. So I'm going to go through the chords like that and then play the melody line once more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you are really working on improving your pick control, you will notice that people do a lot of different things. In general, we are talking about the same kind of looseness. We're talking about the same kind of steady back and forth alternation. Where you're going to see the variables is how much is anchored wrist, which is very common, and for fast picking makes a lot of sense. But you could also float, which for me is not as loud and it's harder, but I like the freedom of it and sometimes it's the right sound. And then there are, as I've been demonstrating, these other ways of resting. This is an ongoing thing. I continue to work on this all the time. I look at great bluegrass flat pickers and my mind is just absolutely blown by the control they have. But all I know is the more time I spend thinking about what I can do over here, the more precision I get out of it. And a lot of that comes not just from I'm thinking about my picking, but I am observing what happens as I move in different ways, and most importantly, feeling the difference between one approach and another, so that it's not just a mental thing, but it's a sensation. And I am absolutely convinced that everything we do on the instrument, we ultimately want to learn as a feeling, as a sensation, because then that's a place you can just go once you've absorbed it, as opposed to being more of a conscious thought process. It has to start there. But eventually, you soak it all in, you feel it here. I'm Dave Isaacs. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. Thanks for watching. If you don't subscribe, please do. Like, comment, share. Anything you would like to do to share these lessons is greatly appreciated, and I appreciate you watching. See you next time.